Hey guys, so having a great conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about mindset. He and I, we are studying some content on just mindset, creating a paradigm. And man, it was such an interesting conversation. I said, I got to share this because people need to hear it. And one of the things that we talked about, or we hit on, that I can remember was the mind. We live in a physical, tangible world, but yet we're spiritual beings. But the majority of what we do deals with the five senses. We rarely tap into the spiritual side of ourselves and exercise the mind. We have the ability to bring whatever we want in the future to the present. We can live in it right now. How often are we visualizing? How often are we putting an emotion to the visual, to the picture we see in our mind? How often are we internalizing those thoughts? Bob Proctor, he said this one thing. He said, "It is true that you are what you think, but only if you internalize those thoughts, only if you emotionalize those thoughts." So often we think that just because we think things frequently, that's going to come into our lives. But if you're not intentionally um, meditating on those thoughts and putting emotion with it and feeling yourself there, it may not necessarily pan out the way you desire it. Another thing we hit on was fear. So we understand that fear, doubt, disbelief, a lot of times those mindsets, those emotions, they exist when there's a lack of knowledge, when there is a lack of understanding of what needs to be done. And the way we got to that part of the conversation, because I shared some with him that I learned or that I heard from this audiobook I'm listening to, he says that you won't know how to get there until you get there. And think about that. We're trying to figure out, you may be trying to figure out how to accomplish and figure out the exact steps to get to where you want to go on your road to success, but you won't know how to get there until you get there. You just have to create the vision, set the goal, and allow the steps to be unfolded as they come. And then when you get there, then you'll be able to look back and say, "Man, this is how I got here." Then you'll be able to write the book. And I just thought about, man, when someone do their first real estate deal, they probably are totally like death scared. All of the risks, they don't know what's gonna happen. But once they got the first one done and the second one done, it's like I would imagine. I'm not a real estate investor, but I would imagine it's like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. I mean, there's still risk involved, but yet I got a better idea how it's gonna pan out. I think about the millionaire that somebody became, multi-millionaire, lost it all and did it again, developed it again. I read about Robert Kiyosaki. I heard Myron Golden talk about some of the same things. I can imagine because they knew exactly how to get there because they had already done it. The fear of getting there was smaller. They probably were was less risk averse. They probably was willing to take more risk, be a little more proactive, procrastinate less, and get things done because they had already done it before. So they weren't as afraid as they were before. And one of the last things I remember talking about was just clarity of the goal, how important it is to be clear on what you're trying to do. When there's a lack of clarity on the goal, you fill up your time with things that really don't matter. You fill up your time doing things, organizing things, just small minuscule things that are not really moving you forward, not getting you where you want to be. So get clarity on your goal, and then clarity of the goal will define what you need to do to get to the next step. So wanted to share those thoughts with you. I think it was so interesting, um, the conversation we had. We were so on the same page about what we were talking about. And I hear my daughter calling now, so gotta go. Take it easy.